Welcome back to PTMTR, and this week we're going to be making lasagna from scratch. First, we're going to get the knife work out the way. Here I have some stunning rosemary, a large white onion, half the amount in weight of celery, and the same with the carrots. I'm going to throw in a couple of peppers because I love the slight heat it brings. Start by topping and tailing your onion, and this is an instrumental technique in cooking, so watch carefully and practice. Keeping the root intact, curl your fingers back and use your knuckles to guide the blade. Then we're going to use a claw method to slice down into some beautiful cubes. Always use the back of your knife when scooping the veggies so it doesn't damage the edge. Trust me, a dull knife is way more dangerous in the kitchen than a sharp one. And then we're going to actually be doing the same with the carrots. So we're going to julienne them, first cut them into thin slices and then into thin battens. Then you just want to line them up with your knife, making sure everything's nice and uniform, and finally just cut them into small little cubes. Follow suit with your celery, making sure you're going with the grain, and then cut them really fine so you don't have to actually skin these. This is what you call a mirepoix. Now to chop up the peppers, we're going to make sure to first de-seed it, so just take out all the white stuff and the seeds. And then the trick is actually to cut it skin side down to make easy and swift work of it. So we're going to do the same thing here, julienne them and then slice them into small little cubes. I've kept the seeds in this one just to bring a bit more heat because these aren't as spicy to start off with anyway. And finally, of course, your rosemary. Pick off the leaves and chop them up real carefully into tiny bits, running your knife through them until you're happy it's done. Try not to get any of the woody bits in there. Now onto our ragout. Grab a pan with high edges. I have this saute pan because it helps speed up the whole process. Go in with a bit of olive oil and then your ground beef. I'm using about 700 grams, so make sure you're hearing that sizzling sound and spread it as evenly as you can so it browns faster. Then go in with a pinch of salt and pepper. The salt will actually help bring out the moisture and just let it cook a lot faster as well. Don't go too heavy on the salt because we're going to be seasoning in bits as we go along. Once it starts browning, grab yourself a few cloves of garlic and push them through your garlic crusher. I'm doing about 4 cloves, but you can go in with about 2 teaspoons of garlic paste if you want. And then what you want to do is cook it all down until the moisture evaporates and your beef starts to fry again. And at this point, go in with your rosemary and just give it a stir until the meat becomes fragrant. Then cook it all down till the moisture evaporates and the beef starts to fry again. Then go in with your mirepoix. Again, go in with a little bit of salt and a bit of olive oil to help sweat everything down faster. Let that cook through and stir it occasionally until your veggies look like this, translucent. Then we're going to go in with whole tin tomatoes. I'm using 2 tins and 1 tablespoon of tomato puree. Now mash your tomatoes up in there and we're going to go in with about 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika and 3 teaspoons of normal paprika. Now whether you're using silicone or a wooden spoon, just make sure you're scraping that bottom of the pan to get all that beautiful fond off the bottom. All that black concentrated stuff is going to be amazing in flavour later on. Then I'm going to add another dimension of flavour by going in with some homemade chicken stock cubes and a splash of white wine vinegar and some chopped parsley. Top the rest up with just normal chicken stock until it's all covered, and we're going to let that simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the ragout thickens up into a sauce. Now we're going to get started on our white sauce. Yes, you can buy it in a jar, but I did say we're going to make this from scratch. So we're going to start by infusing some milk with a few bay leaves, a teaspoon of peppercorn, some salt to boost the savouriness, and some oregano, and let it sit on a low heat whilst we start working on our bechamel, which starts with equal parts flour and butter, and mix everything so it's thoroughly combined and it cooks through until it becomes blonde, so that the raw flavour of the flour gets cooked out. Then get yourself a strainer and pour in that infused milk and whisk everything off the heat until you feel it thicken up. And give it a taste and add some salt and white pepper if you need it, and voila, a simple yet beautiful white sauce. And trust me, it's a lot easier than driving down to Tesco. Now I'm going to be making my lasagna fresh from scratch, so should you need measurements, it's about 1 large egg per 100 grams of flour. If you haven't seen my video on how to cook pasta, go and check that out. Or if you can't be bothered, then just buy your lasagna and follow the instructions in the packet on how to cook them. We're going to start by building these incredible layers of bursting flavour by thinly coating the base of your pan with the white sauce. Then your lasagna, and then obviously an even layer of beef ragout. Now I don't like to go super thin with my ragout layer, but it's up to you. Then just alternate the white sauce and mince between layers of pasta, and then when you're done, finish off the top layer with some white sauce and give it a generous coating of mozzarella. You can use whatever cheese you prefer, but I really love the flavour and subtlety of mozzarella. Then of course a healthy grating of Parmigiano Reggiano for those beautiful sharp and nutty notes, and finally some extra virgin olive oil for taste, and finishing salt if you want it, and some dry oregano. That's it. Put it in the oven. Now this doesn't need more than 15 minutes if your pasta's been made fresh, just until the cheese starts to go golden brown and crispy. Or if you've used the box stuff, then just whatever the guidelines say for that. But people, please try this recipe and it will instantly become a family favorite. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing and sharing, and please just try this recipe out. Tag me on my social media. If you like what I do, please visit my Patreon page. I'd really appreciate the support. Happy cooking.